Hey, welcome back to YT Finance, and today we are talking about Palantir stock news regarding how analysts have upgraded their PLTR stock price predictions, which is absolutely fantastic. I will also show you how analysts can calculate stock price targets, and then we will talk about Palantir stock's future growth potential. After that, we will look over how Palantir Technologies as a company has also recently gained a really cool upgrade because now they can use their new Meta constellation software to control satellites. Then lastly, we will talk about new PLTR stock news and updates like PLTR stock analysis or insider selling that you need to know about so you can stay informed. Go and press the like button right now for more PLTR stock news videos, then comment your Palantir stock price predictions down below. Remember to turn on all subscription notifications to stay informed, and now let's get right into the video. Palantir Technologies is doing extremely well both functionally and financially because of their rapidly increasing revenues and amazing cash flow, to where now I can easily see the PLTR stock price reaching $34.32 a share before year's end, and I will tell you how we calculate that number in a moment. But right now, this means that Palantir stock is worth more than 30% higher than its current price of around $25.36, which would be a great return for PLTR stock investors. On page 9 of their slide deck presentation, it shows that the company generated $201 million worth of free cash flow in the first half of the year, which would equate to a 28% FCF or free cash flow margin, which is absolutely amazing. This is so impressive that analysts have raised their sales and earnings projections for the company regarding the year 2022. The original average analyst revenue estimate for 2022 was $1.92 billion, but now 9 analysts forecast that Palantir will make anywhere from $1.95 billion to $2.13 billion. This would represent over a 30% revenue growth rate from the forecasted $1.3 billion that the company is on track to achieve this year. This revenue forecast then increases again for the year of 2023 when analysts predict that Palantir Technologies will have revenues of over $2.49 billion, and this could result in PLTR having free cash flows of $747 million. We can use this number to then calculate the true market cap if we divide it by the standard free cash flow yield of 1%, which would mean that Palantir could have a market cap of $74.7 billion, which would mean that the stock price would be worth 45% more than today's stock price, which would give us a low-end price target of $38.41. However, this is a low-end conservative estimate of what the stock would be valued at in 2023, not currently. So now we just change the numbers to current values. So we will just have to use a projected $588.6 million of free cash flow divided by the 1% FCF yield, which would grant them a market cap of $58.86 billion and a stock price of $30.22. Then if we average our two predictions out, we can get an average price target of $34.32, and that is how some analysts calculate stock price predictions. Feel free to read this article and do the math for yourself, and remember, all the sources are always linked and listed down in the description box below. Now let's talk about what other analysts are pricing the PLTR stock price at. For example, according to 6 Wall Street analysts, the average PLTR stock price target is $23.80, and that's from tip ranks. But according to Seeking Alpha, the PLTR stock price prediction is $24.76, and that's according to 8 Wall Street analysts. However, I would confidently bet that our projections are much closer to what the stock will actually be worth then. From this graph on screen, you can see that retail investors actually own the majority of PLTR shares, and not a lot of shares are held by hedge funds. But then again, the short interest is also quite low for this stock, and that indicates that hedge funds are not betting directly against this stock either. But what is good to see is that insiders are holding onto this stock, minus some insiders selling recently, which we will talk about later. When insiders hold stock, that means they have faith in the long-term value of this company because they know that the stock price will gradually rise in value over time. And right now, Peter Thiel has the largest insider holding because he owns 7.1% of all outstanding shares, to where the second and third largest shareholders own 5.5% and 5% respectively, while the CEO, who is named Alexander Karp, owns 2.1%. According to the overarching social media sentiment, it seems that retail investors are much more excited about this stock than institutions, while Wall Street analysts take more of a neutral approach depending on which analysts you talk to. Right now, Palantir Technologies is in a fantastic spot because their revenues are anticipated to grow by approximately 30% year-over-year compounding, their free cash flows are multiplying like crazy and expected to maintain their positivity, and they have loads of cash on hand. So here's a graph showing what analysts forecast regarding the company's future performance. And overall, these statistics look really good. The revenues are very positive, the earnings are increasing, the free cash flow and cash from operations could use a little work, but overall Palantir looks like a great long-term play from these statistics. My favorite part about Palantir is that they provide software solutions and analytics analysis for government agencies, along with the private sector, and the majority of their future revenues will actually come from the commercial private sector. However, because Palantir has not fully accessed the private sector, many find it hard to value this company. However, their government contracts are so good, I feel totally confident investing into this company now before they even tap into their true potential in the commercial sector. I also want to tell you that one of the insiders who was a director did sell a lot of shares, around 100,000 shares, and those were worth around $2.6 million, but I wouldn't worry about that at all. The best part to me is that PLTR signed 62 deals, each worth well over $1 million, and they gained 20 new customers just in the second quarter. In my personal opinion, Palantir is one of the best big data investments that you can make right now, as long as you're willing to hold it long term. They are so good, in fact, that Kathy Wood of ARK Invest, also known as ARK Funds, who love Palantir Technologies, and they buy Palantir stock on a consistent basis. And when Kathy Wood, someone who is a future visionary, loves a stock, you know this stock is going to be something great in the future. Palantir is also looking to invest into Bitcoin, but recently they bought gold, and that's because they want to hedge against a black swan event, which is a really bad event that no one could have predicted, but apparently two people can predict this event, because Alex Karp, who is the CEO, and the co-founder, who is Peter Thiel of Palantir, apparently have special knowledge that a black swan event is coming, and that's why they bought gold. Now, the really interesting thing is that Michael Burry, who is a very well-known hedge fund manager, also think a black swan is going to happen, but he thinks it's going to be in the form of the mother of all stock market crashes, and we don't know if this is the same black swan event that Alex Karp and Peter Thiel are referring to, but it's just something to think about. But back to Palantir. An analyst said that Palantir Technologies absolutely dominates in military and defense contracts, which is extremely good because defensive contractor stocks generally do very well in the stock market, and Palantir could be one of the best and most impressive contracting stocks out there, up with the likes of Lockheed Martin. And we have already received a taste of the massive stock growth that Palantir Technologies can provide for its investors, especially if you were one of the lucky investors to invest into the stock when it IPO'd. If you would have cashed in at the highest point, you would be up more than 380% on your investment in a very short amount of time, which was insane. But if you still held onto the stock, you would still be up around 66% right now. More than 53% of Palantir's revenues come from the United States, but Palantir is slowly branching out to other allies, such as the United Kingdom and France, to gain even more government contracts, which right now makes up about 61% of their total revenues. Palantir also has a decent debt-to-equity ratio of 0.49, with more than $1 billion worth of long-term debt, but this debt can easily be covered because Palantir has over $2.3 billion worth of cash or cash equivalents on their balance sheet. But now let's get into the meat of this video, and it's how analysts have upgraded Palantir Technologies' price targets. You all know that I like to reward people that watch my videos all the way through, so here it is. Palantir has brand new software called Meta Constellations, where Palantir can use satellites to track and predict movements of both friendly and enemy submarines. This technology can also be used for other things like identifying wildfires before they get out of hand. This technology will be perfect because Palantir has a Black Sky partnership that also specializes in satellite technology, so now Palantir's AI rules land, sea, and now space. Over here on the next slide, we have all of the times that well-known institutions like Goldman Sachs, Credit Suisse, and Morgan Stanley have upgraded their PLTR stock price predictions. For instance, we have institutions upgrading the stock from $13 all the way up to $34, or from $20 to $25, or from $28 to $30. And this is great news because it reflects that analysts are slowly catching on to how popular and how much growth that Palantir can actually experience. For stock analysis today, we still have that hard resistance level at $27.49, but if we break through that level, the stock should surge to $31.34 because of the volume. However, because Palantir fell below $26 a share, we have now entered neutral territory, but if we fall below $23.49, we would enter a bearish downtrend. Remember to comment something down below if you made it all the way to the end of this video. Don't forget to like this video, it helps me out a lot, and I hope that you subscribe so you can stay informed, and I will see you in the next YT video.